Ready to go, Mayor.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the ordinary meeting of the Wellington Shire Council for Tuesday, the 16th of February 2021. And yes, welcome to you all. I think before I start with the council meeting information, we need to ensure that all councillors can hear and see me. So I'll start on my left on my screen. Councillor Tatterson.
I can hear you, Mayor, and see you.
Thank you. Councillor Hull.
Mayor, I can see and hear you.
Councillor Rossetti.
Mayor, I can visually see you and orally hear you.
Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. Councillor Crosley.
Yes, I can see and hear you, Mayor.
Councillor Marr.
I can see and hear you, Mayor.
Councillor Wood.
I can see and hear you, Mayor.
Councillor Bye.
Yes, Mayor, I can see and hear you.
Councillor Mackenzie.
Yes, Mayor, I can hear and see you.
Now, hang on, the screen changes. Did I miss anyone? Did I say you, Councillor Marr?
Yes, you did.
Yes, you've done everybody, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Good evening. Well, I can hear and see everyone too. So, council meeting information. As the COVID-19 physical distancing requirements continue to remain in place or have come back into place, the Minister's Good Practice Guideline MGPG1 virtual meetings issued by the Minister for Local Government continues to apply. Pursuant to Section 87 of the Local Government Act 2020, these guidelines ensure that local government decision-making can continue in line with COVID-19 requirements, and further details can be found on the Local Government Victoria website. These guidelines took effect from the 1st of May 2020 and will remain in place through to 26th of April 2021. While members of the public can't attend this meeting in person, we have provided options for you to interact with us virtually via our council meetings page on the Wellington Shire Council website. You are able to interact with council in two ways. Email through a specific question or comment relating to a particular council agenda item no later than 1 p.m. on the day of the council meeting, or for general communication with council via the online web form early in the meeting to ensure that your submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. While we maintain a different way of gathering, we thank you for your ongoing support and look forward to continuing this new way of keeping in touch with all of Wellington Shire. Yes, a feeling of deja vu, councillors, back to what we've been used to for the last 10 months. The next item is the Acknowledgement of Country. And we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Gunai people, and pay respects to their elders, past and present. And now for the prayer. Almighty God, we ask your blessing upon the Wellington Shire Council, its councillors, officers, staff and their families. We pray for your guidance in our decisions so that the true good of the Wellington Shire Council may result to the benefit of all residents and community groups. Amen.
Amen.
The next item on the agenda is apologies. I don't believe we've got any apologies this evening from anyone, Mr. CEO.
No, all present, Mayor.
Yes. Declaration of conflicts of interest. I don't believe we have any conflicts of interest.
None received, Mayor. None received.
No, none received. Excellent. The confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting held on the 2nd of February 2021. Can I have someone move the adoption of those, please?
Councillor Bye is happy to do that, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bye. And a seconder?
Can I move it first, Mayor?
Oh, sorry, you better move it first, Mr. Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, that's bad habit of mine.
I move the council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the ordinary council meeting of the 2nd of February 2021.
Thank you, Councillor Bye. Do I have a seconder?
I second, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wood. Is there any opposition to that? No. I'll declare the motion carried. You have nothing you'd like to say, Councillor?
No, all good. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much. The next matter on our agenda is there's a matter business arising from previous meetings. There was item tabled laying on the table from the council meeting of the 15th of December in relation to, there was item 15.2, review of external marketing budget allocation. There is a proposal for a formal motion to raise this item from the table, which will be considered at the conclusion of item 14.2, which is on the agenda. So that will be dealt with then. Thank you. The next item is acceptance of late and urgent items. I don't believe we have any. Next, notices of motion. There are no notices of motion this evening. The next item, receiving of petitions or joint letters. There are no current petitions or joint letters. Item 8, invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. I have no knowledge of any of those. Next item is questions on notice. There are no current questions on notice. Then the next item is the Mayor and Councillor report, item 10.1. Would someone like to move that report?
I'll move the motion, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Crosley.
I move that the council approve. Oh, no, wrong motion. Sorry. Reading the wrong bit. Here it is. Beg your pardon there. Turn the page over. I move that the Mayor and Councillors' report be noted.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Do I have a seconder?
Happy to second that, Mayor. Councillor Bye.
Thank you, Councillor Bye. Is there any opposition to that motion? No? I'll declare it carried. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to cover the breadth of, even despite the COVID restrictions, there have been some direct contact as well as virtual meetings covering the breadth of both the mayor and councillors. There's the Timber Towns of Victoria, early learning centres, the Sale and District Special School, meetings with MPs and ministers, the CFMEU, the Gippsland Emergency Relief Fund General Meeting. I know the Mayor attended that, and they do fantastic work in our community with all of the, unfortunately, the various disasters that we have. They get their funds out really well, and it's a great response for our community. So it was great that you could attend that. And also I had the privilege of attending the U3A meeting in person, all COVID safe and all spaced out. But they were very keen to hear of what the new council is aiming to do, and also we're really pleased to hear about the new launch of our Your Wellington, Your Shire, Your Wellington. So they were very keen to have that, and the link to that's going to go out in their newsletter, and they're keen to participate. But it was also highlighted to me at that visit of the dire straits of their circumstance of their rooms, that it's in the old high school, and I had 1 year of that before it was transferred to the new school, and I don't think it's changed much since then. So it's really not suitable for that age group to be there, and so it was certainly wanted to bring back to the council their desire to have new rooms somewhere or joint rooms somewhere, and certainly I said we understand that, because that area is basically in the stage 2 development of what we want to see in the Port of Sale precinct. So I think we've all taken that on board. So thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you very much, Councillor Crosley. The next item on the agenda is report of delegates, and Councillor Crosley, I understand you have a delegates report.
I do. Just a quick one. Thank you, Mayor. I'm a delegate to the Gippsland Climate Change Network, and there's a couple of really great programs that the Wellington Shire is in partnership with, and that's the Energise Gippsland Solar Program, which is a terrific opportunity that through a bulk buy process we can offer a discount and high quality install of a solar system on both businesses, community groups and individuals. It also really supports the model of that we're wanting to decrease the carbon footprint in Wellington. So this installs assist that and create resilience in our community, and also supports local jobs, as Rocky's Solar was the successful tenderer to actually provide this service. So we're doing a relaunch. We've had nearly 30 installs through this program, but certainly would love to see more people take up that advantage. So follow the links to Energise Gippsland Solar Program and sign up to really get a great deal. The other exciting news was that the Gippsland Climate Change Network was successful in receiving a grant from the State Government Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning, and that was to set up a new energy jobs fund, which is a revolving fund, which can provide again renewable energy projects on a lease buy process, so that offers more opportunities, especially for businesses and community groups that may not be eligible for other supporting state government promotions, to actually get the system and pay it over with their savings from their power, and again really helping the sustainability of the Wellington Shire. And this is partnered with the state government and under our new banner of Energise Gippsland. And as I say, this is certainly getting great support for our local community and a great partnership with the Wellington Shire and the Gippsland Climate Change Network.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Crosley. The next item on the agenda, item 12.1, is the Chief Executive Officer's report. There's a recommendation there. Do I have someone who would move that?
Yes, Mayor, that the Chief Executive Officer's report be received.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Rossetti. Would you like to move it? Oh, you moved it.
I did.
You did. Would someone like to second it?
I'm happy to second it, Mayor.
All right, Councillor Crosley. Thank you. Is there any opposition to the adoption of that recommendation? No. I'll declare that carried. Would you like to make any comment, Councillor Rossetti?
I think I'd be repeating what Councillor Crossley said in regard to the Councillor report, Councillor Mayor Activity Report. So that's plenty said there.
Thank you very much. So the next item is 12.2, the December 2020 Council Performance Report.
Thanks, Mayor. I move that Council receive and note the December 2020 Council Performance Report as attached.
And would someone like to second that?
I'm happy to second that, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Ma. Is there any opposition to the adoption of that recommendation? No. I'm happy to declare that carried. Councillor Rossetti.
Thanks, Mayor. There's been quite an exciting December quarter running there, and I'd have to say the council plan highlights are quite significant. You'd be aware, of course, the Archibald Prize having been announced that we're going to be the sole Victorian host to the 2021 Archibald Prize at the Gippsland Art Gallery, and that really was met with great excitement in the media, in the community, but also around our council table. And it's not just, Mayor, I must say, this was being discussed before we actually had our beautiful new Gippsland Art Gallery. So it's actually a credit to the Gippsland Art Gallery and how that's run, not for the Archibald Prize. It's a bonus that we've got the new facility there. But the art gallery itself is so well supported, and now we've got the foundation has been set up, and that had a soft launch in December with brochures, booklets and covering letters sent to current and potential gallery donors. In the first week, there were 3 separate donations of $5,000 each, in addition to the initial $200,000 from the John Leslie Foundation. And that money is invested by the foundation directors to fund major acquisitions and projects at the gallery. It's been a great quality of our gallery that it's not only been supported by the ratepayer through council and other levels of government, but it's always had such good, strong community support. And this foundation is a way that the community can actually kick in and help out, whether it's just a straight donation or indeed leaving bequests. Some great capital projects. I won't go through them all, but we're all very excited about the Cameron Stadium redevelopment, the Stage 2 works, which are progressing well and have reached lock-up. The project schedule is currently being reviewed due to some delays from inclement weather. Summer is not quite the same this year as it's been in previous years. The Stratford Rec Reserve, the female-friendly change rooms, works progressing well there and on schedule from completion in March 2021. The Sale Oval precinct redevelopment, the tender's been awarded and work scheduled to commence, well, in fact, I think they have, in early January 2021. Sale Tennis Court redevelopment and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of the financials to 31st December, the result of the second quarter of the year does reflect a surplus of $28.4 million against an adopted surplus of $33.5 million, which gave us an adverse variance of $5 million. The main reason for that was due to the repayment of unused grant funds of $4.2 million back to local government Victoria, and that was really hard. Our council was holding on to those funds for a group of 4 councils, of which we were one, to investigate shared services. The idea of shared services, Mayor, was to try and find ways of being able to share how we deliver our services through to our communities, especially the back-end services, the ITs and the payrolls and all these sorts of things, to actually be able to save some bucks to put some money into other areas of service to our communities. And the state government were really behind it, having given us those millions of dollars to help get it together. It's just so disappointing that there was so much work went into it, but it was a bit like herding cats at one stage, really, because we just couldn't get all 4 councils over the line. 2 of them just didn't want to proceed, which was really sad because it would have been a great way to be able to provide so much more for all of our communities through those 4. And if we'd gotten it over the line, it actually would have been quite a good model for other councils right throughout Victoria. Unfortunately, there are a whole lot of reasons that we couldn't get it over the line, including some parochialism. But we're very hopeful to at least be able to have a smaller version of it with a neighbour of ours in the future, because the better we can provide our services to the community, Mayor, if we can be more efficient with that, we can either give rate relief or indeed we can provide more services, or we can grade more roads, or we can upgrade more sports fields, all those sorts of things. But in this case, the government gave us that money to fund the group of 4, and under the funding terms, we had to give it back. I think the CEO had a very shaky hand on the cheque book that day, writing that cheque back, because he's much happier with the deposit book, receiving those funds and banking them. Council also is currently reviewing financial data for the first quarter of 2021, and as you'd expect, there's been some COVID-related impacts to our financials, but Council's managed a tight budget, and our forecast result at this stage, to the end of June 2021, is looking a bit better than expected. And we'll be presenting those third quarter financials at an April Council meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor Rossetti. Next, we have the General Manager Corporate Services Report. Item 13.1 is the Assembly of Councillors. There's a recommendation there. Will I have a councillor?
Yes, Councillor By, I'd like to move that, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor By. Please do.
I move that Council know to receive the attached Assembly of Council records for the period 25th of January 2021 to the 7th of February 2021.
And do I have a seconder?
I'm happy to second that, Mayor.
Councillor Marr.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Is there any opposition to that motion? No, I'll declare it carried. Did you want to say something?
No, that's fine. Thanks, Mayor.
All right. Now I'm behind here. The next item on the agenda is item 13.2, is the adoption of the 2020-2024 Councillor Code of Conduct. There's a recommendation there. Do I have someone to move that? Yes. No one wants to
Join
move it?
I'm happy to move that, Mayor, if you'd like.
Thank you, Councillor Marr.
I move that Council approve the revised Councillor Code of Conduct as attached. 2, revoke the 2016 Councillor Code of Conduct. And 3, authorise the publication of the revised Councillor Code of Conduct on Council's website.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Happy to second that, Mayor. Councillor Bye.
Thank you, Councillor Bye. Is there any opposition to the adoption of that motion? No? I declare it carried. Thank you. Councillor Marr.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Basically, Section 139 of the Local Government Act 2020 requires that Council develop and adopt a Councillor Code of Conduct within 4 months of our general election. So largely this is what has been adopted. I think it's this document that's got the highlights of the changes that have been made as compared to the last one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Marr. The next item on the agenda is item 13.3, the adoption of the updated conflict of interest policy. Do I have someone who would move that? Councillor Crosley.
Yes, Councillor Crosley, Mayor. Thank you.
Please move it.
Proceed. Okay. I move that Council approve the revised conflict of interest policy as attached.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that motion?
I'll second.
Happy to second that, Mayor. Councillor Bye.
No, Councillor Wood, I think, beats you by a short half right hand. Thank you, Councillor Wood. Is there any opposition to the adoption of the conflict of interest policy? If not, I'll declare it carried. Councillor Crosley, you moved that.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. This is similar to the previous motion in that it's updating and quite a considerable update and significant changes in response to Section 130 of the Local Government Act 2020. Basically, the aim, and as it says in the overview, it is important that councillors, staff and committee members act and are seen to act with integrity and not inappropriately benefit or influence or by improperly using their position. Sorry, my screen wiggled. So the aim is, and certainly with this one, it's given quite considerable different wording and definitions of what could be perceived and what is a conflict of interest, so much clearer guidelines for those above mentioned. And also it's changed in how it's identified. As you would have noted at the beginning of this meeting, it was there any declarations of conflict of interest? Previously, we just had to do that verbally at that time, but under the new policy, it'll be identified, and there'll be a declaration form that will be filled in and recorded. So a fair bit of difference, but the obligation hasn't changed. We have to make sure that we operate, and staff and, as I say, committee members operate with the greatest integrity to make sure that our community has confidence in our decisions.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Next, we move on to the report of the General Manager Development. Item 14.1 is the November and December 2020 Planning Decisions Report. Someone to move that?
I'm happy to move that, Mayor.
Councillor Marr, thank you. Would you, please proceed.
I move that Council note the report on recent planning permit trends and planning application determinations between the 1st of November and the 31st of December 2020.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Happy to second, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. Is there any opposition to that motion? No. I'll declare it carried. Councillor Marr.
Thank you, Mayor. These determinations include the issuing of planning permits, amendments, extension of time, refusals and notices of decision. For the period of November, December, there were 110 decisions made. and you'll find those at the attached reports. There's also a further report that outlines the planning trend, comparing our area, Wellington Shire, to the other regional areas around. It shows that the value of works are on the increase, which is good news indeed. And our planning decisions within 60 days have hit 100%, which that certainly highlights the great work that our planning department has done, particularly under trying conditions with COVID last year. So well done to the team, and well done to all for being able to achieve what they're still achieving.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Ma. The next item on the agenda is 14.2, the Maffra Men's Shed. Mr. CEO, I understand there is a speaker who would like to address Council.
That's right, Mayor. I'll get Mr. Jim King on the phone. He's one of the office bearers at the Men's Shed. Councillors, could you just bear with me for a minute, and I'll call him in now. You won't be able to see him, councillors, but I'm calling him on his mobile. But just bear with me for 1 minute.
No, thank you very much, Mr. CEO. We'll
Hello, Jim. Are you there, Jim?
Hello.
Oh, hi, Jim. It's David Morecambe, the Chair of Wellington Shire. Can you?
Yes,
can you
I am.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll pass you over. You're in a public meeting now, Mr. King. I'll pass you over to Mayor Stevens.
Yes, I am.
hello, hello,
Turn
Jim.
your computer off in the background, Jim.
Have you got something on in the background, Jim? I think there's something that's overriding you a bit.
Oh, right.
Just need you to turn your computer off in the background where you're streaming it, Jim.
Whatever you've got in the background, it'd be appreciated if you could just turn that off.
Okay, I'm moving to another room, so we're right.
Oh, okay, I think we can hear you better now. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, well, welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Obviously, we're dealing tonight with item 14.2, the consideration of a relocation of the Maffra Men's Shed. And yes, before we deal with the recommendation, obviously you have the opportunity to address the council for 3 minutes. So it's basically over to you, and we can all hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to the recommendation currently before you. Men's sheds emerged in Australia in the mid-1990s in response to concerns about men's health and well-being. It was recognised that men had fewer opportunities to socialise in environments which encouraged them to express their feelings. Drawing on the shed in the backyard concept, where men traditionally attend to activities such as making and repairing furniture and equipment, men's sheds have gradually developed to offer a safe, friendly and welcoming environment where men can work on meaningful projects at their own pace, in their own time, and in the company of other men. From their inception, men's sheds have grown rapidly across Australia to the point where the concept has been adopted in New Zealand, England, Ireland, and other parts of the world. Men's sheds can range from informal, casually evolved sheds, garages, or small workshops to large-scale community or industry-sponsored semi-commercial operations. They provide opportunities for men of all ages to pool their skills and experiences for mutual and community benefit. Men's sheds typically have a workshop space utilised for woodworking and metalwork activities, a social area, and possibly a garden area. They may undertake wood and metal projects, hobby activities, repair old machinery, tools, and refurbish old computers. Importantly, each shed determines its own activities in conjunction with its membership. Throughout Victoria, men's sheds are run in a multitude of ways. Some are also auspiced by other community groups, e.g. neighbourhood houses, community centres. Others run as part of a local council structure, and others operate totally independently by their own committee of management. In the case of the Maffra Men's Shed, we run via a committee of management, are an incorporated association, and as such are required to provide an annual return to the Victorian Department of Consumer Affairs. Our shed commenced operations at the Gippsland Water Compound site in Gibney Street on the 1st of January 2018. And since that date, we have not only established the internal operations of our shed, but have extensively contributed within the broader Maffra community. As was highlighted in our 1920 annual report, an extensive range of projects was undertaken by members, not only for the benefit of our shed, but also for the broader community, which culminated in 1,325 hours being contributed by members, with an estimated community benefit of 26,500. The highlight of our community contribution followed the 2020 Christmas New Year bushfires, which severely impacted both the shires of Wellington and East Gippsland. Following inquiries from the Croydon Men's Shed, our shed became the drop-off distribution point for a number of Melbourne-based sheds who collected and donated and transported a wide range of electrical and hand tools. Maffra Men's Shed coordinated sorting of the donations received and made deliveries to the townships of Bruthen, Buchan and Mallacoota, with all contributions being gratefully received and faithfully applied. This is an example of how men's sheds can cooperate to assist communities in time of need. As Maffra recovers from the COVID restrictions and things gradually get back to normal, our shed will be actively involved in an increasing number of local community events, such as the Maffra Triathlon, which is scheduled to be held on the 28th of February, where our shed will be providing marshals to assist in the running of this event. The RV site proposal. In February 2020, permission was sought from Gippsland Water to expand our footprint on the site by erecting a carport to house our storage container and provide undercover space for construction of larger projects. This request was not approved, and Gippsland Water also advised that our 5-year licence agreement would not be renewed beyond 31/12/22. The Committee of Management commenced the search for alternate sites within Maffra, but to no avail. Then Council was approached to assist. Lease options were quickly ruled out, as that scenario could have placed our shed in the same predicament as the Gippsland Water saga. A permanent site was definitely the preferred option by the Committee of Management, and as a result, 3 possibilities were initially suggested by Council: the Cameron Sporting Complex, the Gippsland Motor Vehicle Collection, and the Maffra Agricultural Football Complex. For various reasons, all 3 were found to be unavailable or unsuitable. A timely suggestion by Councillor Malcolm Hole at the southern end of the Maffra RV site in Johnson Street could be a possibility, created immediate interest. Our Committee of Management visited the site and concluded it would be ideal, as it had an amenities block which could be refurbished, but importantly, all services, power, gas, water, sewer, were connected, thus providing considerable savings when compared to other sites. The site also provided room for expansion and the possibility of creating an area where other Maffra community-based groups could co-share. Negotiations with Wellington Shire Council officers have now led us to this point, where Council has a recommendation before it to approve the allocation of the southern end of the RV site to enable this exciting project to proceed via an initial 10-year renewable licence agreement between the Victorian Government, the owners, the Wellington Shire Council, the managers, and the Maffra Men's Shed, the licensee. Several conditions accompany the recommendation, and Maffra Men's Shed has agreed to those conditions. Throughout the last 8 months, there has been widespread support for this project within the Maffra community, as it will ultimately provide a central location for a number of community groups who currently have no accommodation or occupy facilities which are out of date and in urgent need of capital expenditure to bring them up to current standards. In closing, on behalf of the Committee of Management and members of the Maffra Men's Shed, I thank Mark Benfield and Brett McAllister for their guidance and assistance throughout this negotiation process. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, Jim. I'll now ask for a councillor to move the recommendation in the agenda.
I'm happy to move that, Mayor, if you like.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor Tatterson. Please proceed.
I move that Council resolve to approve the Maffra men's shed for use of the southern section of the current Maffra recreational vehicle park land as outlined in the attached map, subject to the conditions A, B, C and D as set out in the agenda, and 2, that the use of the existing recreational vehicle park site on the northern side of the subject land be monitored along with other RV facilities in Maffra, and that staff provide a council workshop.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Happy to second, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. Is there any opposition to the motion? No, then it's my pleasure to declare it carried. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's certainly it's a great outcome for the Maffra men's shed. They've obviously been working on this proposal for a period of time since they were told they wouldn't have their licence on their current site renewed. While Jim spoke about the benefits of men's sheds in general on the mental health and well-being of men across the whole of the country, the Maffra men's shed are a fantastic group. They've worked really hard in building membership and have developed some fantastic facilities on their existing site, and they're certainly ambitious in looking to secure a new site so that they can move to a more permanent location. So this will give them some surety in starting to move forward and seeking funding. So it's a great outcome for the men's shed, and I wish them all the best, and congratulations to Jim and all the people that have made an effort in progressing this matter, and all the good that they'll do for the Maffra community.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, and I might get you to hang up now. If that's, sorry, Mayor, through you, Jim. You can probably, that's, yeah, just get you to leave that to me. If you can hang up the phone now, Jim.
Thank you very much, councillors. Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So thank you, and thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Now we're moving on to, yes, after that, I indicated earlier that there was a matter lying on the table, item 15.2, review of external marketing budget allocation that was laid on the table. Was that the correct English? On the 15th of December 2020. I just need a motion a formal motion to lift that item off the table.
I have a motion, Mayor.
Yes, please proceed.
I move that the motion in relation to item 15.2, review of external marketing budget allocation from the council meeting on the 15th of December 2020 be taken from the table.
Thank you, Councillor Crosby. Now, as that's a formal motion, I don't need a seconder at this time. Is any councillor opposed to that formal motion? No? Then I declare it carried. Item 15.2 is now lifted from the table for further consideration and debate. Councillor Crosby again.
I have a alternate motion.
Thank you, Councillor Crosby. Thank you. Would you like to, yes, please proceed.
With your indulgence? Yes.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Councillor Crosby.
I move that Council resolve, 1, that Council and Central Gippsland Tourism will enter into a new memorandum of understanding as a partnership which outlines the deliverables and key performance measures for this funding. That the Chief Executive Officer is delegated to finalise and sign this on behalf of Council, as well as to ensure it supports and is aligned with the Middle of Everywhere campaign. 2, from the 1st of April 2021, for a 12-month period to provide $35,000 funding to Central Gippsland Tourism for tourism marketing and promotion of the Shire, taking into account that the 2020-21 unspent previously allocated funds. Item point 3, in addition, Council for that year will match dollar for dollar any additional cash funding Central Gippsland Tourism attracts from industry or from grants up to a maximum of $15,000.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Is there a seconder for that motion?
I'm happy to second that, Mayor.
Thank you,
Councillor Maher.
Thank you, Councillor Maher. Is there any opposition to that motion? If not, I'm pleased to declare it carried. Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. As it was stated earlier, that we did a review of our external budgeting and circumstances changed, and we really felt that we needed to broaden our target with our marketing budget. We do spend a considerable amount of funds. I tallied it up, it's well over $1 million a year that we've spent over the last year to actually promote Wellington. So we're not just looking at a tourism targeting this. As it was stated, we've developed the new Middle of Everywhere program, and that's, I say, the broad brush to actually make people think about not only coming here to visit, but to set up business, to actually come and live here. So a broad target to actually make Wellington a destination, a lifestyle destination, a business destination, as well as a tourist destination. We annually contribute over $30,000 to Destination Gippsland, and that's had the campaign of Gips Wonderland, which has been really successful there, and that's really supported by the products that have been provided. And we congratulate the Central Gippsland Tourism on their My Hidden Gem campaign, and also it's well aligned with sort of independent campaigns. Like I just noticed the campaign from the Maffra BTA on the TV a couple of nights ago. So really, we've got a great product. I mean, the pandemic has knocked us about, but it's also obviously giving us opportunities where there'll be families who'll be holidaying closer to home, and also families that may be thinking that living in the metropolitan area is not such a great place, and there's other regional options to think about setting up business and coming to live. So that's why we're refocusing on how we promote the Wellington Shire. But as you can see by that motion, we're still really supportive of the work that Central Gippsland Tourism does, and in the package of promotions, as I said, that there's business support package that we've done through COVID. There's extra support we had to recover from the bushfires in supporting extra funds through a program with Destination Gippsland, and various other areas that we are encouraging the promotion of Wellington. So this is part of that package on that broad brush after our review. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Crosley. Mr. CEO, are there any further gallery and online comments?
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I don't believe there's any need for us to go into what's the correct word? I've lost it.
Closed council.
Closed council. Closed session. Thank you very much. Then, therefore, I think that brings us to the end of the meeting. Just like to thank you all for your attendance. Hopefully, we may be able to meet again in person next meeting, but I suppose that's we'll have to just wait and see. Therefore, at this stage, I'll declare the meeting closed at 6:44 p.m.